And Patrick is one of the founding members of aMS, right? Used to be called AOS, but then Microsoft changed the product name from
Yeah.
Office 365 to Microsoft 365. So obviously the logo and the community follow. So Patrick is one of the founders of aMS, and he's gonna be talking to us about from Outlook to Teams, how work has been changing, right? And how we have been reinventing the way we work. So it's 3:02, right? And our attendees are in, and it's a Saturday evening. Let's not hold everybody back any longer. So Patrick, the time is yours.
Yeah, that's so exciting to be with you, my friend. So I hope next year we will be in person again, but this year it's online. So online in Teams. So that's the very topic of my session. What we can do with Teams, and we can do amazing thing with Teams, like big event like that online. But I will focus on how we can better collaborate in Teams, starting from Outlook. So, do you see my slide deck?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So let's try the pointer. Okay, I will do it like that. Should. Not sure why PowerPoint is not working as expected, but let's try again. Diaporama starts, should be okay like that. Okay, so thank you so much to all our great sponsors. Without them, such type of event would never be possible. So thank you so much, especially Fidelis and Ripe and all others, of course. There are a great quiz organized to win prizes. So I think it's still time to submit some answer to this quiz. So if you are interested and if you have enough knowledge to answer, feel free to scan the code, the QR code, and then you will be able to answer. Okay, so a few words about me. As Vincent said, I am Patrick Guimonet. I am coming from Paris, at least virtually. I am enterprise solution architect, and I have my own company, Abalon. We are helping our customers to use all the Office 365 tools to build business solutions. I love to be speaker and organizer of international events and community events like this great Southeast Asia aMS event. I am one of the member and founder of aMS community, which is a worldwide community of, I would say, Microsoft 365 professional and passionate people. So feel free to connect with me in LinkedIn or Twitter or any other network. And I have been awarded by Microsoft 11 times Microsoft MVP, especially in Office 365 SharePoint at the first time, and then Office 365, and now it's called Office Server and Services. And my guess is that at some point it will become Microsoft 365 MVP, but it has not yet been announced officially. And last but not least, probably the most interesting thing about me, I love bread and especially baguette. So you can find me somewhere in some bakery around the world. A few questions about you. If you have access to the chat, please help me understand who you are. And I love to ask this question. Are you mostly from IT or working in the IT part of the organization as a consultant or as an internal? Or are you mostly business people? trying to use Office 365 to solve some business problems. So why I love to ask this question? So don't be shy. Can you put this in the chat? So Vincent said business and IT at the same time. So why I love to ask this question to my customer, this is because definitely to be successful in such type of project, Microsoft 365 project, you need to create a good discussion, a good interaction between IT and business. If you only speak to the IT part of the company, you will miss the final target, which should be a business target. And if you are speaking only with the business people, you will probably miss some important technical stuff. So definitely, to be successful in such type of project, you need to create this discussion between both parts of the organization. So let's go to our topic. And for today's topic, from Outlook to Teams, Microsoft and the consulting company around are saying, okay, it's time to leave some of your old habits in Outlook and probably use Teams much more than you expected at the beginning, because now Teams is a 4 or 5 years old product, and it's a mature product to handle many tasks in your daily work. But my main purpose is to explain that this is not probably such a very cool way, a simple way to go from Outlook to Teams. It's much more like a very scary, difficult, sometimes you go back way. So this is the purpose of this discussion, to explain my view on this journey going from Outlook to Teams. The first thing I want to say, it's probably not to remove emailing or an Outlook, definitely, but it's much more to understand where Outlook is good and the good usage of Outlook and emailing, and where Teams is good, and to use Teams for the good usage and Outlook for the good usage. So this is very important to help your end user to understand where they can use Teams and where they can use Outlook or emailing in general. So it's most, in fact, if we think about it, it's more like moving from one ecosystem to another. The ecosystem around Outlook and emailing is well known by end user. Why? This is because it's a very old product now, and people in every company, even in their daily life, they are very used to use email, to send email. So that's a very useful product. Sometimes we can combine the emailing, which is by default an asynchronous tool, with the phone, because if you want to connect in synchronous way with someone, you should, for example, phone him. So the idea is to migrate this ecosystem of tools to another ecosystem, which is around Teams. And with Teams, we can think about documents in SharePoint or OneDrive, planner, to-do, whiteboard, and things like that. Interesting thing is that in both tools, you have an integrated calendar. And this is one point, that the calendar in Outlook is very well synchronized with the calendar in Teams, and the reverse is true as well. So it's interesting to help your customer or your end user understand that they are going from one ecosystem to another one. But definitely the email system is something like is very old now, so very mature, I would say. And Teams is a recent tools even if Microsoft is saying it's mature right now, it's still an evolving product, and with a lot of new feature, as you have seen in the last months, and you will see in the next months as well. So to put the discussion a little bit in a bigger size, bigger perspective, I would go to the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So what is Microsoft 365 ecosystem? In a few words, it's a set of services, cloud services we can reach directly on the internet. So it was called, and it is still called Office 365 set of services. But with this set of services, you need to access this service from a PC, which is the by default Microsoft's choice. So Microsoft in Microsoft 365 add some Windows 10 or now Windows 11 license, and all this ecosystem can also be reached by mobile. So almost every services has a mobile version or a mobile tool or a mobile app on iOS and Android. So this is Microsoft 365 ecosystem in a few words. But the question that comes just after is to do what? So what are the main purpose, main usage of Microsoft 365 tools? I can put the usage in 5 categories. First categories of tools allow you to manage your own personal productivity. So you have tools, for example, to manage your contact, to manage your calendar, to manage your task and things like that. You have a set of tools to manage your document and files, and more it's extended to knowledge management. The 2 following usage are very important for our discussion today, and we will focus on that today. That's communication and collaboration. In English, the word sounds similar. Communication, collaboration, it starts the same way, it ends the same way. But definitely you should take a few seconds, a few minutes to think about it and to think about the difference between communication and collaboration. Communication, as it is depicted by the cool icon, is a way to send some information to other people, one other people or a group of other people or the whole company. But it's definitely, you should think about it as a process of sending information. Collaboration is very different in the purpose, because the purpose of collaboration is to put a group of people in the icon. We have 3 people, but obviously we can have much more bigger group of people to collaborate on a specific task. And yes, the purpose of collaboration is definitely to work on a specific task, to create something, for example, a proposal for a customer, or to manage a project, or things like that. So collaboration, it's everything around working together on a specific topic. And definitely, you can have great tools for communication, which are bad for collaboration, and the reverse is also true. You can have very good tools for collaboration, which are not very good for communication. So my main purpose, one of my main purpose or my main message in this presentation is use the correct tool for the correct usage. If you want to collaborate, choose collaboration tool. If you want to communicate, choose communication tool. The last big usage in Microsoft 365 ecosystem is obviously business process and digitalization around the process in the company. And this is all the subject of Power Platform, but we will not handle that in this session today. So we have 5 main usage, and we have something like 30 tools or 30 or more, 35 maybe, tools in Microsoft 365. I will not detail everything in this slide, but I want to focus on some tools are designed to be personal tools, some are more group tools, and some are designated to manage the the whole company or to address the whole company. So this is a typical segmentation around me tools, we tools, and us tools. And on the vertical axis, we will put the usage. And so we can put all our tools in the correct categories to explain that, for example, Outlook is a very good communication tool. So with email, you can communicate with just a friend or a coworker or a group of coworkers or even the whole company, even if it's not a good practice to share all your an email with all the companies, but that can be done. And definitely Outlook or an emailing are a me tool, that is to say a personal tool, because it's very designed to be your own tool, and each collaborator, each worker in a company can organize this emailing, this inbox in the way he wants. Teams is very different in the way it is designed, and Teams has two interesting characteristics. We will discuss about it in the following in the rest of the presentation. The first characteristic is that it's designed for collaboration from the ground up. So it's designed to be not a personal tool, but a team tool. And one of the heart of Teams is the team. So every people in the team can access, for example, a space which is seen by every member of the team the same way. So this is definitely a great way to collaborate together on a specific topic. A second interesting thing about Teams is that it can have some feature for collaboration, but some other feature for communication. And that's very important to explain your end user that some feature in Teams are good for communication and some others are good for collaboration. So we will focus on these main tools. And Viva is there as well. So first, my first part of the topic will be to focus on emailing. For how many years have you been using an email system? That's an interesting question. And if you ask about it, it probably remind you some very old times. So to give some highlight on this, electronic email was created something like in 61. So some of you have been using it for 2 decades or 3 decades. Vincent started 3 decades ago. I have started 2 years after you, Vincent. That's good information. And another interesting thing is that Outlook was created just before the 20,000 years. So that is to say that's very old tools now. And probably some of the first tools you used when you started to use computer and things like that. So people have very old habits using it. And that's sometimes why they are trying to use it for everything. And that can be a problem. Because I love this screenshot of a TV show, a TV journal on the French TV when they say, okay, some people are so addicted to email that they need to be cured for that. So they need to they have created some companies have created some disintoxication cures for mail addiction. So that's very interesting that we are at this point very addicted to email in some companies. So my first message is, okay, if we want to take back on this, if we want to control at least a little bit email, we should have a good organization for that. And here is a proposal of how you can organize your inbox very quickly and very efficiently. That's not, there is no way in any company to impose or to oblige people to organize their inbox. but it can be very useful if you want to try this one or any other way to organize your inbox. So my proposal is based on a blog post from Scott Anselman. The link will come at the end of the slide. In fact, the idea is to declutter your inbox. The problem with one of the main problem with mail inbox is that everything is coming on the same place, and with a few rules, you can declutter this inbox, and you can create some subfolder or some sub inbox folder. For example, here I've organized my inbox in 4 categories. The first one, I create a rule to put any message related to meetings. So when I invite people to a meetings, for example, if it's a meeting of 10 people, I will at least receive 10 answers, yes or no. But probably I will get much more than that, because there are always someone saying, okay, can we change the date? Or I will be okay, but I will not have time to prepare the requested meeting and things like that. So one meeting creates a lot of interaction and exchange with the people in the company. So probably you will need much more than the 10 emails to manage a 10 people meeting. Another interesting folder you can create with a simple rule is to put every folder where you are only in copy in a subfolder, and by default, if you are in a mail was sent to you, but you are only in copy, this means that you are not supposed to act or to make some action, and that's probably sent to you only for information. So there is no no urgency to read it, for example. So you can put all the CC mail in a separate folder. And last but not least, you can separate the mail coming from internal of your company from the external part. For example, if you are a salesperson, you are probably willing to manage all the customer-related email much more quickly than the internal one, because you are, for example, waiting for some orders for your customer and things like that. Anyway, it's a good practice to separate internal email and external email, and then you can manage them in the different way. So with in this example, with 4 simple rules, you have really well organized your inbox, and it will help you to manage the flow of all emails. As I said, it's only a proposal or an example, but you should think about how to manage your email. Another great tool is to create or to put some category on emails with the color coding proposed by, for example, Outlook in this screenshot. As I said, this is one of the main problems with email. You have a single channel communication and everything is coming to your inbox, where messages of all sorts are coming, but also document attached to your document. So a big problem is, for example, if you are working with another people on the same project, nobody has the same view of the project. In Teams, that's very different, as you probably have experienced it already, especially if you are using the Teams part of Team. In Teams, in fact, you have several channels. So even if you have a team and several channels for each part of a project, for example, and then you have only you are only notified, or you have only an activity notification for message you are directly pinged. So for all other message, for example, they are in the corresponding channel, but definitely you can't, you are not notified for every channel, for every message in every channel. The only way to see that there are new messages in the channel, if you are not notified, is that it's becoming bold. The name is in bold. This indicates you that, okay, there are some new information, but you are probably not notified. If you are notified or especially tagged in a message, then a number like 1 in a red circle will appear after the channel name. So that's a very different way to manage a multi-channel collaboration. And if you put several projects in parallel, as you probably have to manage nowadays, everybody has the same view on each project. And another very interesting thing about Teams is as well that message and docs are separated, and you have something like a different tab, one for the message and one for the documents, which is very clear and very well done separation. Another interesting difference between email and Teams is the size of the message. And here, for example, we have basically the same message, but with in email, traditionally you put some introduction word like hello, and at the end you put okay, best regard and things like that. You put your name, you put even your role description with contact information. In Teams, it's no longer needed because in Teams you can click on the name of the people sending the message, and you can get access. You can get access to his profile in Microsoft 365 with all the needed information. Another interesting difference is if you send an email with attachment, then if you are starting to collaborate on this Excel file, for example, in this screenshot, it can be very crazy because if you send one message with one file attached to 10 people, in fact, if you think about it, it really creates 10 versions of the same file, and every people will work on one of the 10 version, and you will have to take all the information in this 10 version to recreate a new one. So definitely this is a very bad way to collaborate. In Teams, we have this awesome view of a document on the right on this slide. You have the awesome view of a document open in Teams, so you can see all the documents, information, for example, here a PowerPoint presentation, and at the same time you have a right panel on the screen where you can put or see some comments, and you can exchange with your coworkers on what you have changed or what you should change in the document. So that's very efficient way to collaborate on a specific document at the same time. So to conclude this first part, Outlook has great communication feature, but if you use it in a collaboration way, it's very difficult you can have very challenging time. And another interesting situation is when you have a new member in the team. If you have collaborated with, for example, 10 people during 6 months, and you try to embark a new people, it's very hard to embark him. How you can send him all the already published information? It's very difficult to make a zip of all the previous email and to send it to the new worker. So it's very difficult to embark a new team member in the traditional email collaboration. In Teams, it will be much more efficient because all information, if you embark people in a new team, in already created team, he will get access to all the history, all the files created and things like that. So here are the comparison between Teams and Outlook or email, and there are very very powerful message around Teams in this space. So, will Teams solve everything? My purpose definitely is to say no, because in fact, if you think about it again, Teams is at the same time a communication and collaboration tool. And if you use some part of Teams, like chat, like meetings, in a bad way, you will have the exact same effect that using email. So be careful with that. In fact, Microsoft is presenting Teams as the hub for teamwork, and this is totally true. But there are, in fact, two phases in Teams. And if we go to the interface, or at least the product option by default, we have on the left bar chat, calls, calendar, and all these very cool tools or very cool feature are in fact communication tools. And once again, if you use extensive chat in Teams, you will get the exact same effect that we have in email. That is, everybody will have a separate view of the project, which is not a good idea. So if you create many meetings, they will get all people in the meetings will get the information, but people who are not able to join the meeting will not be informed. So definitely the good practice to have a good collaboration in Teams is to use the Teams part of Teams, and this is what we will focus in a few minutes. So to conclude on this communication landscape in Teams, we have a summary here on this slide. In fact, we had three options before the spring 2021. It was chat in Teams, it was meeting in Teams, and it was live event. And they have added interactive webinars, which is a mix, in fact, of feature between meetings and live event. But anyway, meetings are what we are doing right now, which is an interactive way to present and to interact with people, to share screen and present some information. So this is very cool because every people in the meeting can be presenter and can interact with the presenter in several ways. But this is limited to a certain number of max people, and it has long been 300 max people in a Teams meetings, but they have extended it to 1,000 interactive people. And another cool feature is if you have more than 1,000 people joining the Teams, which can be the case in big companies, the meeting will scale seamlessly can scale to a 10,000 view-only broadcast. So in fact, the 1,000 first people will stay interactive, and the other 9,000 will be able to have a view-only broadcast. So this is a cool new feature which can help to create some very big meeting in a big company, obviously. But definitely, in my purpose today is to say communication is cool, but if you want to share knowledge and to share history and to work correctly, you should focus on Teams and organize well the teams in Teams. Here, for example, I have a typical customer engagement screenshot, and we can see here that there are no posts in the 0 posts in the Teams, which is very bad in a term of correct collaboration. So the team is the basis of collaboration, and definitely people should organize the team space in their company to get all the benefits or the whole benefits of Teams and collaboration in Teams. The benefits are that you have no problem to know to whom you share information in Teams, because if you go to a team on a specific topics, it's decided by the owner of the team who should be in the team and who should not. Every people in the team work with documents in the same space, so that's very powerful thing. And for example, if you think about some other tools, they not all have the same feature. And one other very powerful team feature is that you can add embed directly in your team, in your space, additional application with the tabs option. We will see that in a few seconds. One immediate benefit of going from conversation or meetings to a team space in Teams is that you go from a one-to-many conversation. At some point, it was not very clear, but now they have changed the interface. And in a team chat, a team conversation wall, you have, in fact, some topics like a new channel on this screenshot. And you can do both. You can do two things. You can either reply to an existing discussion, so new channel discussion, or you can create a new conversation. And you can create as many conversations as you need to handle your project, for example. So that's very interesting, because if the discussion on new channel goes with many replies in it at some point and very quickly, the Teams interface will display only there are something like 20 replies to this topic, to this discussion. And if you are not interested by this discussion, you don't even see them. If you are interested, obviously you can click and go to all the exchange around this topic. So that's a very powerful way to summarize a topic or a discussion, and once again to win some time by reading or not reading, by reading only what is interesting for you at some point. If you create a new conversation, you have probably already seen that you have new options like create a new conversation, put a title, which is a very good best practice, at least, and you can even create some announcement to create some graphical, visual way to put the stress on specific important topic. We have already said that there is a very cool way to work on documents directly in the space where they are stored, and this is definitely one big benefit of team, is not sharing the document to all the members of the team, but rather you put every people in the same space and they go to the document, so that's people going to the correct document and working on it. So everybody is can be working even at the same time on the same document. So that's definitely a very powerful and very important feature. Sorry. So one quick comparison between chat or channel, and definitely I will encourage you to promote conversation in channel in your organization versus conversation as a chat, because everything is visible for everyone in the team. Document are stored in SharePoint and not in OneDrive, and this is very powerful to get some visibility and keep your team aware of everything is going on this specific project, for example. One more powerful feature is the strength of the tabs, and you can definitely, with the tabs, customize very quickly and very efficiently your space, your team space. For example, here I can add a reference website directly in my space. I can obviously add a planner as a tab in Teams, which is very powerful. For example, a project in a project management perspective, so you can give some quick task to a member of the teams. You can add a Power BI dashboard to put some KPI directly in the place of they can be consumed. And the very interesting feature is that people no longer need to remember where is the Power BI report about this project or about this topic, because it's directly in the team they are working on this project, for example. And if we go a step further, we can even create a whole team dedicated to a specific process. A process created, for example, with the Power Platform. So it can be a certain number of steps, some step being Power Apps, or some other steps being Power BI report, some other step being Power Automate action. So everything can be easily embedded into one team. And here, for example, we have an example of such type of solution. And if we think about it, a process tape can be difficult for end user to remember, because if, for example, at step 1, they should go to let's say a SharePoint list. At step 2, they should go to a Power App somewhere. At step 3 or 4, they should go to a Power BI. That cannot be very easy for an end user to remember everything. If you embed everything in one team, each tab is numbered by the step of the process. Here, for example, step 1 is, for example, a SharePoint list. Step 3 is displayed is a very simple Power Apps app. So everything can be embedded as a menu in the tab of the team. You can also put you can create a specific alert channel. So a specific channel for sending some alerts about the process, for example. So here you have on the number 3, you have an example of such type of generated alert by a very simple Power Automate. You can obviously make much more complicated alerts, of course. And another great addition is approval. So you can create, for example, an approval process and use, for example, adaptive cards. You have an example on the step 4 in this screenshot. And using adaptive cards and approval channel, you can remove a lot of emails as well. Alerts are also usually down by sending emails, but if you put that into Teams, that's remove definitely a lot of emails, and that can be very efficient to digitalize any process. Another great way to integrate Teams with the rest of the information system is to use Viva Connection, and it was possible before Viva Connection to create some new tools on the left bar of your Teams. And here, for example, I have a screenshot with the intranet button, and if you click on the intranet, you directly go to your top site, intranet site in your company, which is what we did in our company. Now this process is simplified by Viva Connection and is completely designed to be embedded in your Teams. But you can create such type of integration between your information system and your Microsoft Teams. Last part of my session is to say, okay, we have seen great feature in Outlook, we have seen a great feature in Teams, and my purpose is to say, okay, probably Outlook will still remain a long time, and emailing will still remain for a long time. For example, for all conversation or communication with outside the company, you will still receive email for many, many years from now, for sure. But my purpose is to say, okay, Teams is a very good tool to collaborate and to to do your job inside the company, your day-to-day job inside the company. So let's think about how we can integrate or we can bridge between the two solutions. Calendar is definitely the best integration, as I previously said, because Microsoft did a great job. And if you, for example, create a meeting in Outlook, it will automatically sync with the calendar in Teams, and the reverse is also true. If you create a Teams meeting directly into Teams. It will be synced into your Outlook calendar, and they have even added the synchronization feature. Since a few days, I have so the screenshot here is not the newest one, but if you look carefully, since a few days, even the color of your meeting, so you can put some categories to your meeting and put some color in Outlook. The color are synced into Teams, so this is a cool feature. But what about? Okay, calendar is cool, but what about emails, standard emails? So how can I, for example, transfer an email from Outlook to Teams? In fact, you have a very powerful feature to do that. We have three. In fact, we have 3 ways to do that nowadays. The newest one and the more easier to do is to directly drag and drop Outlook emails to Teams. So you take your emails into the Outlook interface and you drop it in any Microsoft Teams channel, and it works very well. Another more older option was to use the get email address. So every channel in Teams has an email address, and so you can get this email address, and in any Outlook message you can send it by a forward. You can forward it to this email address. It works very good as well. And last but not least, last option to send an email from Outlook to Teams, it's to use the Share to Teams button. And in Outlook now you have a Share to Teams button, which will allow you to put any message directly into the channel with some additional messages. You can see in the quick screen in the quick demo. Here we go to the Teams, and the message will arrive as it is in the Teams. So that's the 3 ways we have to capture and manage email discussion into Teams. Why should we do that? One of the best use cases is, for example, I receive an email from my customer asking for some change in a project, and I should discuss with my internal team. Should we agree with the request of my customer or not? And I put the mail in Teams. We exchange with my team in Teams on the answer we want to provide to the customer, and then we can go back to the customer with a perfect solution, perfect answer. The last question is there any good reason to send a message in Teams, which is in Teams, to Outlook? I would say no, because we are mostly trying to remove most of the emailing message from Outlook to Teams, especially around collaboration, as we have seen during the presentation. So in this idea, it's not a good idea to go back to Outlook to Teams. But there is one feature that can be useful, and in fact, it's a missing feature in Teams. In Teams, you can't right now. You still can't transfer or move a message. For example, if your coworker put a message in the wrong channel, there is no other option than to remove it and to recreate it in another channel. So in this case, if you want to move a message, you don't have the option to do that in Teams right now. It may come in the future, but right now it's not possible. So we can use the transfer to Outlook and back from Outlook to Teams to do that. So let's go a little bit on this feature. So if you go to Teams, you have the capabilities and every message to share it to Outlook, which is the first the menu in the left part of the screen. And this creates an Outlook message. You can complete it with some information. In fact, you get a copy of your Teams message, and you can send it to any email destination. So if you use in the 2 destination an email which is a channel in Teams, then you can send it back to Teams to another channel. So this is a useful use case to transfer discussion from Teams to Teams. You can do it using Outlook. So this is mostly a workaround for features not available in Teams. So to conclude on this, I want to say, okay, especially after lockdown, some people thought, okay, Team is cool. You can do chat, you can do some meetings, but definitely you should go well beyond that because in Teams you have much more interesting capabilities like collaboration around documents, collaboration into team space. So this is definitely where you should go to fully use Teams and to fully take the promise of Teams. Another way to say it is the power of transformation is much more. You get much more benefit using Team and much more transformation by using Teams, by using tabs, by using apps. It's much more. You go well further than only using chat and meetings. And that was my last slide. So thank you very much. And still time to join the quiz for to win prize. I think it's only how long do they still have some hour or two to submit?
They do until tonight midnight Malaysia Singapore time.
Okay,
but
so it's midnight.
Yes, but we really encourage you to try. Yeah. Right, we have 20. See, because it's a quiz, not that many people try, but we do have 20 masterclass passes, and one pass is $200, right? Oh. And you can learn from Gordon Ramsay how to cook. You can learn from James Peterson how to write a novel, right? You can learn the art of negotiation, right? So many famous courses. So please, I encourage you. You stuck with us. I mean, the audience, you stuck with us for 2 days, right? I'll give you a hint. Not that many people will actually attempt the quiz. So go and do give it a try, right? And this quiz has no geographical boundaries, right? But we do ask that you use you use a work or a school account, right, to give us some of your details, because at the end of the day, the sponsors would want to make sure that these people are genuine, right? There's because we do use their money to buy the masterclass passes, right? That's any questions for Patrick? Right, we're open to questions. Yeah, there are. Patrick, are you able to see? Are you able to see? Yeah, there's can
replace the part 3 ways bridging Outlook with Teams if time permits. Yes, very quickly we can do that. So the 3 ways to send an email message to Teams is first, the newest one is to drag and drop. So it's very quick and easy. You take your email from Outlook and you send it to Teams. You put it, you drop it in the Teams channel. I will share, yes, definitely, I will share the presentation on my LinkedIn account and on the chat as well. The third step, the second option in 3 steps is to get email address for the channel, and then you forward like a standard email, and the message will go to the channel, corresponding channel. And the third option is to use the share to Teams option. Thank you for your participation. It was cool again to be there to exchange with you.
Yeah, there's a request for your presentation deck.
Yeah, I will share it just after the presentation.
Okay. Any other questions? Last call.
Yeah.
Okay, if not, we like to thank Patrick for closing us, and we would really like to thank you for spending the time right, with us, because
thank you, Vincent,
it is
for
a
organizing
Saturday
everything.
afternoon. Yeah, it's a Saturday afternoon. It's for you, those with family. It's your family time, right? If you need to clean the house, that's the house cleaning time, right? So, but we really thank you, right, for spending the time with us. We recorded the sessions, and we'll find some way, because we do have like 48 sessions. I hope the recordings all went well, right? Right, and we'll find some way, a nice organized way of sharing those sessions, should those who want to revisit some of the topics that we have discussed, right? But thank you for joining us, right? So that is the end of aMS 2021. Next year, let's try for an in-person one. If things open up again, that would be so much cooler, right? Okay, thank you for attending.
Thank you, Vincent, for everything, for managing such a great organization.
Okay, goodbye,
that was
everybody.
great again.